So I was at a workshop online, and it was for fitness writers. And I write for Iron Magazine. I write 10 articles a month. And of course, I also write for strengthaddicts.com and a variety of other websites. So I'm at this workshop, and it was done via Zoom. And it was a 90-minute workshop, and it consisted of 45 minutes of lecture. So we had a really good lecture. And I don't know if he's going to be selling the DVD, so I don't want to say his name just because. And there was over 500 different writers of all walks of life: bodybuilding, CrossFit, strength training, and then of course your more academic, athletic based, publications and whatnot. And I would say that probably like 95% of the publications were all digital. Nobody like writes for print. There's no magazines anymore, except for MD, but MD is real hard to find, guys. I'm a huge MD fan. Whenever I see it, I buy it, but it's real hard to find. I bought a Barnes & Noble membership just to buy it for like 50 cents cheaper, and it's never there. You know what I mean? Iron Man still publishes, but for only one natural bodybuilding federation, so they're kind of like off the market. So really, there is no print. So 95% all digital. So we had the 45-minute lecture, and that was really, really good. And then we had a series of like little like mini blocks of time. And one of the mini blocks of time, I don't know what they're called, but they were interesting. And you just stay there, like the Zoom, it goes from like meeting room to meeting room. You don't have to do anything. And I'm real happy that I did it. It wasn't expensive, and I got a lot of information out of it. So anyways, I don't know if they're going to make a DVD or not. If they're not, then I guess maybe like in a week or two, I'll tell you, because I know that a lot of writers watch Strength Addicts on various social media platforms. We tend to watch ourselves, like our articles. Like sometimes I'll get like some feedback on an article totally unsolicited, and I really appreciate it. Sometimes it's good feedback, meaning that good feedback actually is bad feedback. Like if they can find things that you made mistakes in, if they can offer you like creative suggestions, even though if you're insecure and you have thin skin, you might see that as a knock, but that's actually like the good kind of communication, because you're getting something out of it. And then I don't want to say that if they say like you did a good job or something, that's bad communication, but it's like, I appreciate it, but I'd much rather hear like somebody that's critical, because you never know, I might write a different way, And so one of the mini blocks of time involved a Q&A. And mind you, there's 500 fitness writers in here. And so I'm not going to like hit the mic and ask a question. I'm sure I could come up with something. I'm sure we could all come up with something. But again, we're kind of in, uncharted waters. We're fitness writers. There might be 100 of us, and that's like a lot all over the world. I mean, that get paid for this and are published and whatnot. I'm not going to ask them a bodybuilding meathead question. I'm not going to be that guy. You know what I mean? But there was one of those guys, but they weren't from the bodybuilding. Like, I don't think. Again, I don't know every bodybuilding writer, every powerlifting writer, but I don't think they were a bodybuilding writer or a powerlifting, which is, to me, bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, like we're all kind of like, I would say it's like a confederation kind of thing. And then you've got CrossFit and your mainstream stuff that probably wouldn't look at us twice, right? And then within that confederation, there's like the smaller, where if it's a bodybuilding person, or if it's a powerlifting fan, or, well, we're all fans, a powerlifting writer or whatever. So this guy was not, I don't think, involved with any of the three major sports in strength and physique-based sports. This person maybe was a CrossFitter. But anyways, I knew he was Asian. And I only say that because the accent, is you can have an interpreter, but that's weak. You know what I mean? We rather like try to like figure out what each person's saying. English seems to be the common denominator now for a lot of countries. So he wanted to like, whatever. And he asked a question about Synthol. Okay. He asked a question. I know, like, we're at 4 minutes. I'm finally getting to the topic. I'm sorry. He asked a question about Synthol, and you could see, because there's like, you can either have like 10 people on your screen or whatever, 12 people, or you could put them like on a mountain. And now what I do, the background that I use is an actual class background. So it allows it to have like, I don't know, like hundreds of like little boxes or whatever. And so I have it down to where there's like 80 boxes. I can't look at 500 people, because 500 people are going to look like the head of a needle or something. I want at least, but I was lucky enough that amongst a group, and I think whenever somebody hits the mic, I don't think it was lucky. I think it's the program that does it. I think if anybody hits the mic, wherever they're on the screen, it'll like go to that person, or go to a screen where that person's at or whatever. And that's like what happened. So I guess I wasn't lucky at all now that I think about it, but I thought I was super lucky. And so he asked a question about Synthol, and everybody like in the boxes around him were like, what the fuck is that? Excuse me for cursing. But like, they were like, what is that? And, and it's just funny because this, like Asian, probably CrossFit or ping pong player or freaking, I don't know, like what else could he play? Like cricket or golf? I don't know. Like not a bodybuilder, not a power lifter, not a strongman is asking a question about Synthol. I just thought it was hilarious. And like everybody around him, like these really smart, probably like, bachelors and masters and fitness journalism people are like, what the fuck is that? Excuse me for cursing again. I don't think the F word's an insult, honestly. I think the F word in like 10 or 15 years is going to be like shit. Because now shit, you can say shit. You can say shit anytime. You can say shit during the day. You can say shit at night. You can wake up and, have some Folgers in your cup and hear someone say shit on TV. Because shit's okay. You know what I mean? But fuck is not. And so I feel that eventually, as we erode, our modicum senses of decency, if you want to look at it that way. In Europe, they have nudity on TV at any hour. They have cursing on TV at any hour. And, kids and adolescents don't grow up to be serial killers. You know what I mean? They don't grow up to be perverts. They don't grow up to be like axe murderers. It's a different, But over here, we've got this thing where, there's absolutely no nudity, which I think hasn't changed. And then these words, it depends. Like at one point you couldn't say damn, because people associate that with goddamn. You couldn't say hell. You couldn't say crap. I mean, there's things you just couldn't say. And now you can say all that stuff and you can say shit too. What you can't say is fuck. So I just think that at some point, the F word, which now people, they use the F word but they don't actually say it. You know what I mean? They try to misspell it or something, or like Meet the Fockers, for example. That's a movie, but it's like, and they did 2 of them. But the thing is that eventually, I think in 10 or 15 years, the F word's going to be fine. You know what I mean? But right now, it's not fine by some people's accounts. I don't know. So in any event, the people around this gentleman didn't know what the F he was talking about. And it took one of us, not me, but it took one of us to chime in, and then another one chimed in, and another one chimed in, and then your boy chimed in. I chimed in number 4. I was not looking to be one of the first to go because I don't want to be that guy. But once you're the 4th guy down, you're no longer that guy. You might be part of like that crowd, but you're not that guy. And that's an important distinction. But after like 7 or 8 people explained to this gentleman what Synthol was, he still didn't understand. You mean it's not muscle? Why would you put that in your... And that's exactly what he was saying. And that was general consensus. But I think after 8 or 9 people, they were just like, this is not, you know what I mean? Because again, bodybuilding's a niche sport. Even the power lifters and the strongmen, I mean, they put up with us, and I say us because I'm a bodybuilding writer. They put up with us because, look, we're all small right now. We're all trying to grow. We kind of see some light at the end of the tunnel, and we're stronger together kind of situation. You go to a bodybuilding show, you're starting to see strongman and power lifter events and arm wrestling, which is like the fourth horseman of the pack, because they're also picking up a lot of steam. Big Frank Budaleski arm wrestled Devin Larratt, and that I think is what married wrestling to the physique-based, strength-based world. So really, arm wrestling is that 4th horseman. But you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things where once the arm wrestlers, power lifters, strongmen, bodybuilders, like that set, like 8 or 9 different people tried to explain to this fitness writer what Synthol was. In fact, I was the one that said SEO. I probably should have just stuck with Synthol, but I just wanted to, because this is a word that they don't know, but they know site, they know enhancing, they know oil, put that together. It's something they know, as opposed to like a word that sounds totally made up to them. So I tried to explain, and they're like, oh, so it makes the muscle bigger. And then we'd be like, no, it doesn't, because it's not muscle. But then why would you put, so it's just like, and it was just like, it became like a circular thing. And it was only like a 15-minute block. But it was a Q&A thing, and they made the mistake of letting this CrossFit tennis player, whatever person, ask a question that, and it's, what I find to be equally frustrating in that we couldn't explain to him, like, he wasn't stupid at all. He understood what it was, and he understood how it was used. Where we had the disconnect was why it was used. And it's honestly, I agree with him. I agree with him. And again, I'm not releasing names. I'm not saying anything because I don't know if you're going to make a DVD out of this. I don't want to get sued. So I'm just, but I don't know, like, why he would ask that. So I think equally frustrating to me, and I don't know about the other 7 or 8 people that answered him, but equally frustrating to me was that he didn't understand why people used it, which is obvious, for placings, for sponsorships, to do well in the fitness industry, to grow your social media, because at the end of the day, people don't really care if you're healthy and jacked. They don't really care if you've got some oil in there and you're jacked. And they don't really care if you're like, facing a nervous breakdown if you're jacked. People like to see jacked bodybuilders, men and women, from bikini to bodybuilding. They like the look, whatever that look may be. They don't care about the extras. They don't care about their, emotional state. They don't care about if it's oil. They don't care if it's PMMA. They don't care anything about that. They just care about if the person's jacked or not. And that's where that non-strength physique-based writer could not wrap his head around. He could not wrap his head around why would somebody put oil into their arm. And we could not convince him. We weren't convincing him that it was good to do. We were just trying to explain to him what it was about, like why people did it, and we couldn't. And so there was that, which I thought was just like, wow. But I was equally frustrated by the fact that he would even ask it. So like, how did he ever hear the word synthol in a non-bodybuilding world? Like, how did that come up? And of course, I didn't ask him that, and nobody else asked him that. And even if I thought to ask him that, I wouldn't, because, I mean, hell, he's the one asking the question. We're not, like, what are we, interrogating him now? Like, I'm not going to answer a question with a question, or deflect a question with another question that's unrelated. So, I mean, it is related, but it's not, right? Because he's asking why, and we're not supposed to ask him, how did you find about, this or whatever. But how did you find about this or whatever? That's like a new word there, a new sentence structure. But so I mean, he must and Synthol is that's like a brand name, or like a company name. So I can't imagine that he would have seen that in a medical journal or something like that. By the way, Steve Bleckman reads all of the medical journals, and he'll talk to you about them if you call him. But the thing is, I don't think they would use the word Synthol in there. So he must have gotten his hands on maybe like an old body. And I actually, that would be a very interesting one there for any historians out there, whether, it's Bob Ciccarillo or Dave Palumbo. God, those guys don't get along, right? Or I don't know, who else is a bodybuilding historian? Dan Dillon, the Mirror of Bodybuilding, or Sean Ray or somebody. But I would really like to know if the word synthol was ever published in any bodybuilding article of the big 4, MD, Ironman, Muscle Mag, or Flex. I guess we could throw Muscle and Fitness in there, but Muscle and Fitness to me wasn't a bodybuilding magazine, it was a fitness magazine. But anyways, I wonder if the word synthol was ever actually used. And they maybe used SEOs or oils like a big net. But synthol, to actually say synthol in an article, maybe MD with the Random and Free Greg Valentino's column, I could see it there, or with Dave Palumbo's column, maybe. But I just don't know if they would actually use the word synthol. Anyways, and this guy would have had to have gotten a magazine that was like, when were the magazines like so readily available? Probably like 3-4 years ago, minimum. So yeah, we're talking, this guy must have had an old magazine and an old bodybuilding magazine. Why would he have a bodybuilding magazine? And then flip to the right page, it says Synthol, and then, I don't know. It was a mystery to me, at least. I didn't understand. But it's crazy though. People are talking about Synthol. And they are talking about it outside of bodybuilding, and it's getting a lot of attention. And I don't know what bodybuilders are using it currently. Back in the 2010s, I did an article, and PJ Braun was amongst like one of like 8 or 9 different people that left comments. Palumbo did as well, I believe. And he basically said that 95% of amateurs and pros are taking some sort of SEO in their arms or legs or shoulders or whatever. And I went back to the other 7 people that left comments, different comments, and I said, does this sound right? And they all said yes. They all said yes. So I guess it's not really a question of who's using Synthol today. It's more a question of who's not using Synthol today. There have been a lot of speculation about Hadi. Hadi threatened to sue RX Muscle like a year or two ago for that. Rami has been said to have some unusual looking quads and parts of his body. So the Synthol's been there and may still be there. But I just wanted to share with you guys that I was on this Zoom meeting of fitness writers, which is pretty broad spectrum, you know. And one of the writers that had nothing to do with bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, or arm wrestling not only asked a total meathead question, but asked it about oil. Those what did Louis Marcus say? Those gains aren't loyal, you know. So, man, how embarrassing. We were like, what the hell? Like, how do we? And I was the one. I thought, oh, I was so proud of myself. I was like, I for sure convinced this guy. I said, look, you have to understand that to the bodybuilders, they don't make any, this didn't go over. The bodybuilders, they don't make very much money and they spend so much money, you know, and winning and just even placing well is so important to them, you know, more than prize money, more than anything else. And this guy was like, but they don't make any money. Why do they? So it was just like, I was like, I wish I wouldn't have said anything. We're trying to convince this guy about why people use the oil. And now me trying to win him over, now he doesn't understand why people do this and don't make any money and spend money on top of that. The guy, like from a rational point of view, made all the sense in the world. You know what I mean? And we were trying to argue passion, which a lot of times makes no sense at all. But you love it, right? And that's what it's all about. That's what people don't understand about bodybuilding. Most people will never make a living at this. They may not even get a good check ever, but it's about the passion. But anyway, passion or not, Synthol's embarrassing, and we don't want that associated with bodybuilding, but it is.